When you examine the habits and rituals of the successful 5%ers, you find that they have many common practices. That's what makes them 5%ers. Now the same is true for the masses, the 95% crowd. The habits and rituals that they repeat is what makes them part of the underachieving 90% group. What action should you be exercising, and what practices should you be exorcising? The answer? Film at 11. Today we're going to turn the clock back to the year 1973 to discover The Exorcist. Linda Blair portrayed a young girl that literally had the devil implanted inside of her. Today, our objective is not only to exorcise your personal demons, but to insert positive habits to replace them. I'm Eli's dad, hosting Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. Please, don't LOL as Eli and I discuss this topic with the aid of some acronyms to help you exercise or exorcise your habits and rituals. Now, you know, Eli, one of the more standard practices in today's highly communication-friendly world is to use acronyms, typically an abbreviation formed from the initial letters of other words and pronounced as a word. Frequently, I find myself consulting you, a teenager, for understanding because of my ignorance. Whenever I innocently approach you for definitions, why do you always say, "Dad, your question makes me LMAO"? What does that mean, Eli? Anyway, I can play that game too. Let's use some acronyms to define and identify positive virtue or destructive consequences of some of today's habits and rituals. Exorcise. Let's begin with SMART, S-M-A-R-T, goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound goals. Frequently, I hear many success pundits champion this cause. With the single exception, I couldn't disagree more. You see, a big problem in today's society, Eli, is that 95% of the people who even set goals set their goals way too low. If your vision isn't compelling, inspiring, and a magnificent obsession, it creates an individual striving for mediocrity, not greatness. Most of the time, because of the uninspiring nature of quote unquote attainable, realistic goals, they aren't even pursued at all. Tony Robbins tells us that by January 15th, 95% of the people that made New Year's resolutions have already broken them. If your goal ain't compelling and it ain't inspiring, it ain't happening. Exercise. My one exception for the positive use of SMART goal thinking is when you feel like all is lost and you want to give up. If that is your scenario, then I recommend that you listen to my videos entitled How to Prosper and Not Give Up and How to Generate a Positive Mental Attitude. Otherwise, Eli, have big dreams and big goals. Small dreams create an attitude of complacency and mediocrity. Exorcise. Next, let's discuss when you go AWOL and become a POW, absent without official leave and a prisoner of war. One of the clear preventing habits and rituals of the 95% crowd is to be absent from a worthy objective, to not have a dream, to be continually distracted, to be a prisoner of war preoccupied with distractions by habitual social media usage, video game playing, TV watching, idol, I-D-O-L, worshiping, and idle, I-D-L-E, worshiping. Eli, if you don't wake up every day with a defined, inspiring, objective, and purpose, you're living a life of reaction instead of a life of action. Now, as a highly paid consultant of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I've conducted a CSI, a crime scene investigation, to determine why people become MIAs, missing in action. Here's the solution. Call in the SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics team. Exercise. Who comprises the Special Weapons and Tactics teams? You do, and you do. No, Eli, I'm not stuttering. Let's talk about you first. Your job on the team is to spend some quiet, personal thinking time every single day. You'll find that when you habitually and faithfully perform this practice, that a zillion different thoughts will travel around your brain like electrons encircling the nucleus of an atom. Discard the trivial thoughts and capture the repetitive, inspiring, positive thoughts. These thoughts are your protons. Put them in the nucleus where they belong and increase your concentration on those thoughts. Exercise. Now, let's talk about the other you. Say what? The other you is that part of you that contains the Creator, the universal mind, aka, also known as, the infinite mind. This second you, the Creator, is only activated by emotional, consistent thought. See, Eli, because we have approximately 60,000 thoughts every day, this part of you only comes out to play when the inspiration to do so becomes motivated. This second you, the infinite mind, is anxious to help. The most effective way to utilize the second you is to plant the seed of successful achievement of a worthy, inspiring objective and allow the second you, your subconscious mind, to work out the solution. So, big guy, get on the radio, call in the SWAT team, but remember to let them bring their own weapons and tactics. They will make the solution that is taking residence in the hideout of your mind come out and reveal itself. Have faith in this team. Sometimes the solutions, also known as thoughts being held hostage, come out slowly. They come out one at a time. Be sure to capture and secure each one of these thoughts for safekeeping and accumulation. Exercise. Let us move from SWAT, S-W-A-T, to SWOT, S-W-O-T. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The 5%ers that succeed are able to more accurately determine their ETA, estimated time of arrival, because their FAQs, frequently asked questions, enable them to discover their personal HRs, human resources. The 5%ers realize that they must identify their strengths and weaknesses so that they will know who they are DBA, doing business as, and with whom they must seek a TED. Tell me, explain to me, describe to me, talk, to reach their objective. You see, Eli, we all have strengths and weaknesses. Only by continually asking yourself questions, self-critiquing, can one identify where help from others is going to be needed. A corollary of that thought is that when you are building your organization, if one of your team members can perform a necessary function at least 80% as well as you can, you should delegate that task. The successful leader knows when to DIY, do it yourself, and when to allot for more planning time by assigning a responsibility to another. Always remember though, Eli, as the leader, you must continually inspect results. Make sure that the results you're getting is what you expect. Exercise. Eli, in today's times, we frequently hear about the proper life balance. May I give you an example of rhetoric versus reality? When you're juggling life's three balls at once, that I like to refer to as the business side of the balance sheet, the personal side of the balance sheet, and the spiritual side of the balance sheet, most of the time, one ball remains in the air longer than the other two. It's important to be cognizant of all three sides to be balanced out, but reality tells us that realistically, time equality is not practical. Here's a quick story to illustrate. Eli, when I was in the insurance business, the home office always had a contest based on premium production. The qualifiers would receive 2 tickets to a beautiful vacation spot. I've been to Rio, I've been to Europe, I've been to Canada, great vacation spots. Now, once you qualified for one trip, it was impossible to not qualify for the next one. Why? Because the powers that be always made each trip so great that both you and your SOP, significant other person, were motivated to go on the next trip. The result? When you explained to your SOP that you needed to work late, she would always say, "Go ahead, sweetheart, I understand." The reward of a fabulous trip, where I would give my SOP my full, undivided attention, made up for the imbalance created by the OT, overtime, that was invested to attain what became our business goals. The home office executives truly knew how to motivate. They were MBAs, Masters of Business Administration. Exercise. One of the things that is great about life, my son, is that you can fall down many, many times and fail, but it only takes one big time success to make up for it. In fact, when you examine the careers of great successes, you find that most of the time they had many, many failures and setbacks. One common trait of all 5%ers is the ability to rise up from the ground floor, to continually give themselves a new DOB, date of birth, and to never approach a new venture, DOA, dead on arrival. I'm sure that you know people that fit into each of those categories, right, Eli? And I'm sure that you'll agree that the major difference between the two is attitude. Remember always that attitude determines altitude. So here's a question for you, big guy. How, with 75% of the current workforce dissatisfied with their present employment and living in a negative Nelly society, do you avoid catching the negative virus? There are 2 parts to solve this TS, tough situation. First, you must put out the DND, do not disturb, sign every day and give yourself time for quiet, personal thinking. This personal time must contain a gratitude section, a goal/outcome concentration section, and a wondering/freelance section. And second, exercise. Why the freelance section? Because my good-looking look-alike progeny, it is this freelance period where the sperm and the egg combine, and I'll have that talk with you later, to give birth to new ideas, concepts, and creative paradigms. This is where you search the skies for UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and give them some guidance so that they may land safely within the confines of your conscious and subconscious minds. It is this POS, point of service, that enables one to be as creative as possible. You know, isn't it kind of ironic, Eli, that you must give structured time every day to try and create unstructured creative thought? Perhaps, my son, that is why so few people do it. Exorcise. Stop procrastinating and waiting for the perfect plan. Too many people RIP, rest in peace, while they are yet still alive. Exercise. Recognize that the perfect plan is the one that gets you to the starting line. Start. This accomplishes two key success objectives. First is the universal law, the law of inertia, about the movement of any mass. When you start, that gives you momentum. A body in motion will stay in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. So get your mass moving. Second, action encourages the second you, the infinite mind, to maintain your partnership. Inconsistent activity will cause the infinite mind to lose interest in your partnership and to seek a divorce. No lawyer is going to be needed because action is a universal law that is part of your wedding vow with the infinite mind. Trust me on this, Eli. I have all kinds of divorce experience in many different venues. Eli, make Linda Blair, star of the movie The Exorcist, proud. FYI, for your information, I Googled Linda Blair to see how she progressed once her demons were exorcised. She went on to star in and survive Repossessed, Chained Heat, and Hell Night. Remember, my son, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you enthusiastically get back up. Now, our next exercise in progress will show you how to control positively the 7 dwarfs that reside within you. To best remind your schizophrenic self to attend that session, may I remind you to click the bell icon after you strike the red subscribe icon. Remember also that feedback is the breakfast of champions. And so please express yourself in the comment section below, because I want to hear your feedback and I want to give you feedback on your thoughts. Our thought for the day is from Walt Disney. Quote, first, think. Second, dream. Third, believe. And finally, dare. Unquote. And because we never end a meeting on a philosophical note, dare to get out there and charge. I'm Eli's dad.